Okay, so let me just review some of these things. What can you do to preserve assets rather than spending it on the nursing home? Okay, so you can buy exempt assets. People have walked into how you get older, you sell your house, right? You're gonna either move or you don't need a house anymore. You can buy a house. Let's say, you had a house, you sold it, one of the spouses gets sick, you buy a house and you put it in the name of the healthy spouse. Or you make repairs and improvements on the house. That's all exempt. You're allowed to spend it on that. Purchase household furnishings, buy a cemetery plot or a funeral trust. Money spent on those things, you don't have a penalty, and you can preserve it for your spouse and child. You come in and you have a mortgage on the house. Happened just yesterday, really. $400,000 mortgage on $1 million house and about, I don't know, $800,000 in assets. You can prepay you can just pay the mortgage off and transfer the house to the community spouse. And yes, I mean, they're not eligible. They still have $400,000. You have to figure out some other strategy to use. But you just reduce the potential exposure by a lot just by doing that. You can also prepay real estate taxes and homeowner insurance, credit card debts, and payment of any debts is a good way to spend down assets. Large gifts. Some people are, like I said, are not sick immediately. You can transfer assets and pay for care for 5 years if they need care. Sometimes they don't need that much care. But if you transfer assets, you're not going to be eligible for 5 years. But some people, you're just not going to be around the corner that you're gonna have to apply for Medicaid. That's what I said. It was like, what situation are you in? You can transfer the home, right? You can get a reverse mortgage. You borrow a home equity loan, use the cash to pay for care and transfer the home to the children. Annuities, we use a lot of annuities for either single people we use it for, and we use it for spend down assets when there's a community spouse involved too. There's rules that have to be followed, obviously. Yeah, the annuity has to be irrevocable, it has to be non-assignable, has to be actuarially sound, means it has to pay out within the life expectancy of the recipient, of the community spouse. You have to make equal payments, and then New Jersey has to be the beneficiary if the person passes away. But a lot of these annuities that we get that pay out within 2 or 3 years. So it does happen. I'm not trying to say it doesn't, but a lot, the majority of time, all the money's paid out. Life care arrangements, this has become a harder than it used to be because of the courts looking at this very closely. And you have to, if the child is receiving money because they're providing care to the parent, then, Medicaid wants to see the tax return of the child to see if they're paying taxes on the income that they're getting. So it's not so simple. So notes, loans, and mortgages, there's not supposed to be a transfer penalty if you use those. You can purchase a life estate in your child's home. In other words, you don't have a home, you need care, you're going to move, you're either living in or you're going to move to the child's home. You can actually purchase the right to live in the child's home for the rest of your life, called a life estate. And as long as you purchase that for fair market value, and there's all kinds of charts to tell you, what, the 70-year-old male or female wants to buy an interest in a house, and it'll give you a fraction in order to multiply times the value of the home to buy a life estate in that home. And if you live there for a year, you have a residency requirement. You got to live in the home for a year. it's not considered to be a gift. It's a transfer for value. And the child's home doesn't, is not, there's no risk to the child's home. We've done this, when you have a fair amount of assets, sometimes the easiest way to protect them is to have a divorce. Because married couples are responsible for each other's medical care. That's why, my wife goes into a nursing home. I'm responsible for those nursing home costs. Get a divorce, I'm no longer responsible, and I get, the theory being I'm going to get 50% of the assets. So 50% of the assets are saved, and I'm no longer responsible for paying for that cost. So yes, 50% of the assets are still at risk because my spouse received those. But then, I can do some other kind of planning with that 50%. There's VA benefits. There's a pension benefit, service-connected benefit. People walk in the door getting VA benefits. But there is a pension benefit for people who meet certain criteria, which increases their income, helps, where they don't have to, you have more income to pay for the nursing home during that period of time before you apply for Medicaid. It helps. Here's the criteria for it. And there's 3 tiers of it. We always apply for aid in attendance because you get the most under that. And if we don't qualify, they'll award either housebound benefits or the low-income pension. And spousal refusal, I'm sure Matt will have more to say about it. They use it more in New York, I know. But your spouse can refuse to contribute to the cost of the nursing home care. Sometimes we use it when spouses have separated but not divorced. And although when I originally did these slides, it wasn't used so much, and it still isn't used that much in New Jersey. I have used it, and other colleagues have used it, and it has worked in New Jersey. Just the spouse refusing to pay for the nursing home cost. Long-term care insurance, if you can qualify for it. A lot of the applicants, the people we deal with, would not qualify because they've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or some other illness. You can transfer the home to an exempt person, spouse, minor, blind or disabled child, a sibling with an equity interest, or a caregiver child, or you can transfer it to a trust for a disabled child, for example. Okay, that's my presentation for New Jersey Medicaid. Hope it was helpful. Chen, you're muted.
Thank you, Donald.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, so all right, so just a quick few things. I know some people were saying in the chat that Donald was going a little too fast at certain parts, and so I just wanted to kind of mention briefly. One of the things was all different type of trust. Now there are so many different trusts based on the need of the grantor and the family situation. There are reasons for tax purpose. There are reasons for liability purpose. It really depends on what type of family situation. Then we try to help out and decide what type of the trust to use, whether it can be income only, meaning the grantor is able to retain all the income and not have access to the principal, or for many other reasons. So I know Don was going a little faster because the trust can be another seminar by itself for a day. It's very complex area. It really depends on what's needed. So that's something, if you guys are interested, feel free to email us, and then we will try our best to help answer the questions, because it is very complex area. And the other thing,
Chen, just one thing. I mean, people can email us, I think, and we can send them a copy of the slides, that'll at least get them
Yes,
started on it.
yes.
You know, I
that's-
did, you know, I'm trying to give an overview on it. I know I was going pretty fast, but you know, it's impossible to really digest this the first time through. You know, that's why
Right.
people come in and we talk to them about it and, you know, they get the idea there's a way to preserve their assets, and there's all kinds of different ways. It's just, it's very, very hard to get it the first time through. So please email us. I'll send you a copy of the presentation. And then, you know, after that, if you have an issue, you can give us a call.
Yeah, and then I think some people will also have a specific question on VA benefits. Again, it's a very specialized area, and the VA right now has 3 years of look back. So the VA benefits we're talking about is not compensation. It's a aid attendance benefit for people who need cash assistance in their daily living, or if they need help in staying home, or whether so the VA does have special cash program that helps people who's either stay at home or in assisted living to help them pay for the cost of care. So that's something else that's also, obviously, it depends on whether you have a family who's a veteran and whether it served during the war. So it's very specific. So again, we will send you the slide, and you can take a look. And if you have any specific questions with regard to your family matter, then, you know, email us. We can try to arrange something for you to give you some information or help you with the situation.